Welcome to the NCDWI Guy podcast, where defenders of the Constitution assemble to prepare for courtroom battle and firm owners gather to develop marketing strategies that will revolutionize the practice of criminal defense. Here's your host, the NCDWI Guy, Jake Minnick.
Hello, fellow freedom fighters, and welcome to episode 253 of the NCDWI Guy podcast. Robert Moses was not a kind man, but he was effective. He got more done in his decades in power than few believe possible, building over 2 million acres of parkland, 658 playgrounds, 416 miles of parkways, 13 bridges, housing, tunnels, stadiums, civic centers, exhibition halls, some $27 billion in total of constructed public works across New York. He didn't just do this job well, he did multiple jobs well, simultaneously serving in 12 positions, including as New York City Parks Commissioner, President of the State Power Commission, and Chairman of the Triborough Bridge and Tunnel Authority over a 44-year career. Drive across the West Side Highway, that's Robert Moses. Cross the Harlem River on the Triborough Bridge, Robert Moses. Go to Niagara Falls State Park, Robert Moses. Visit Jones Beach, Robert Moses. Swim in the Astoria Pool, Robert Moses. The 1964-65 New York World's Fair, Robert Moses. Central Park Zoo, Shea Stadium, Brooklyn, Battery Tunnel, Jones Beach Theater, Lincoln Center, Robert Moses. His accomplishments that shaped and defined New York City from 1924 to 1968 deserve to be measured. His biographer said, not against his predecessors and successors, or even against other cities, but against entire civilizations. How did he do it? Raw Machiavellian power? Of course. An insane work ethic, a callous insensitivity to collateral damage, an indifference to the consequences of his actions, a driving ambition and relentless desire to put his mark on the roads and parks and skyline of New York. But beyond that, whether you respect him or despise him, you ought to know that one secret to his success was rather simple: having a clean desk. Actually, as Robert Caro observed, it wasn't technically a desk. Robert Moses preferred to work off a large table because it made him more effective and encouraged better workflow. Moses believed in processing. Something came in and he dealt with it. Mail, memos, reports. He didn't let any of it sit, let anything pile up. Since a table has no drawers, Caro wrote of Moses' system, there was no place to hide papers. There was no escape from a nagging problem or a difficult to answer letter except to get rid of it one way or another. By keeping his desk and office organized, Moses got stuff done. And that right there is an excerpt from a chapter, Clean Up Your Desk, in Ryan Holiday's book, Discipline is Destiny. I love this book. I have been reading it off and on. It's got great little chapters off and on here since Christmas. My dad got me that book as a birthday present. Highly encourage you to go buy Ryan Holiday's book, Discipline is Destiny. Tons of great little stories, insights, ways to become better disciplined, amazing stories of people who lived disciplined lives. And today, that chapter nicely introduces the second part of our 5-part Dojo series, The Closet. We're talking about your office space, the closet. Now, again, we are doing the 5 C's of the Dojo series. Last week on episode 252, we did the consult. This week, we're doing the closet, which is about your office space. Then we will do the calendar, the continuing legal education, and the courtroom. So 5-part series on 5-part Dojo series. And Dojo, again, reminder, is Japanese for the place of the way. The place of the way. And this, unlike last week, which was kind of an ethereal place, the consult didn't really have like a physical space. The closet or your office space, that is the place, truly, the location. There is a specific location. And in the fifth part of our series, the courtroom, that's another like physical space. But today we're concentrating on the place of the way. And I would say for a lawyer, for a professional, your office space is your place. Now, why do I call this a closet? Well, for one reason, it lines up starting with a C better in our 5-part C series: consult, closet, calendar, CLE, courtroom. So office didn't start with a C. But my first actual office space was a makeshift closet. I was working in a real estate attorney's office, back part of his office space, in what was a makeshift closet. And it was amazing. As I've shared a couple times on the podcast, I got free office space by doing 3 closings a month for this real estate lawyer, great, amazing family guy and amazing businessman. So I learned a ton, both personally and professionally, from this lawyer. But he also gave me a great place to get my feet on the ground and set up basically kind of a office space with dividers that was sectioned off in the back part of his office. And it was small, but perfect, distraction free, no windows. No, it was just, go in there, get work done. I had access to an amazing conference room. If clients came in, met with them in this beautiful conference room, didn't know I was operating in the makeshift closet. Again, wonderful, great way to start. So literally, first office was a makeshift closet. And as I've also shared, my office in Asheville, where I work when I'm in the Asheville office, is a pretty small space. Now has some awesome natural light and windows, which we're going to talk about here a little bit later in the episode. But there is, to me, something beautiful about working out of a small office space. I've had a number of offices through the years that we've been at different office locations. I've been at multiple offices in each of the 2 like primary Asheville office locations that we've had. I've been in multiple of the offices at both of those locations, all of them bigger than the one currently that my office is in. And my favorite office is the one that I'm in currently in Asheville. But today, we're going to talk about the importance of spending time thinking through your office space, what you want it to look and feel like, why that is so important. And then I'm going to give some practical tips about how to better manage and maximize your office time. So, why is it important? Well, attention is something that is currency at this point, right? How can we avoid distraction? When we become distracted, we waste our time. Time equals money. So our attention is currency. Gary Vaynerchuk talks about this all the time. People's attention is currency. If you can grab their attention, you are a moneymaker to some extent. So how can we avoid distraction? How can we avoid things grabbing our attention that shouldn't be doing that? How can we maximize our time? Now, let's take a step back and really think about the importance of getting your office space to have the right feel. Let's say that you spend about 20 hours a week in your office space. So you're driving around, you're a road warrior, you're going to multiple courthouses a day. Maybe you're doing more high-end criminal work where you're not in court as much and you're in the office more. But let's just say for an average criminal defense lawyer, you spend about 20 hours a week in the office. If you multiply that by 50 work weeks a year, hopefully you're taking a couple of weeks at least of vacation. If you're working 52 weeks, that's dumb. Stop doing that. build in some vacation time. So again, let's do 20 hours a week times 50 weeks a year. That is 1,000 hours annually. 20 hours a week times 50 weeks a year is 1,000 hours that you are spending in your office. That's a lot of time. It's important to get that right. Is that a space that is pleasant to be in and work out of, or uncomfortable? If you want to avoid burnout in your line of work, then working in a space that is conducive, that is pleasant, that is nice to work out of, is going to help you avoid burnout. You're spending a ton of hours in your office space. Get the look and feel of it right. It's worth spending time thinking about. So, just some general considerations in no particular order. One thing that I just talked about was lighting. And I've loved all of the office spaces that I have worked out of. I've been very grateful right from the start in terms of, again, having a rent-free office space that I was able to work out of at our office location on Merriman Avenue, at our office location now on Orchard Street. I've worked at various offices that we have around the state. I've worked in a bunch of different office spaces, and currently primarily working here in North Topsail Beach in my home office. And it's important to get your office space right. It's important to get the office space right. So lighting is an important thing for me. Lighting is incredibly important. I feel angry when I can't see things. And this sounds ridiculous, but literally when the light is bad, when there is dim lighting, poor lighting, whether it's us sitting around in the living room as a family, whether I'm in a courtroom that has bad lighting, there's something about places with bad lighting that just really kind of gets into my very being and makes me unhappy. Conversely, when I'm in a place that has great lighting, especially natural lighting, it is uplifting to the mood. And I can feel the difference in one place versus the other. So again, if you're going to spend 1,000 hours somewhere every year, you want to make sure that it's a place, if possible, that makes you feel good versus like crap. That makes you feel uplifted versus brings you down. So for me, I have found that one thing particularly for me is great natural light. I know a couple of people at our office that would prefer to work in a cave, that would prefer to work in a dungeon. And if that is your model, if light hurts your eyes, gives you headaches, causes problems seeing on the screen, whatever it might be, then maybe the dungeon, being a dungeon master, is what you need to look for in an office space. Secondarily, sitting versus standing. Probably 4 or 5 years back, my partner in Charlotte, Lance, basically was using a standing desk. He swore by it. He was like, you got to try the standing desk. Finally got a standing desk, and it was life-changing. My neck and my back, I didn't realize how much my neck and my back hurt until I got a standing desk, and those pains went away. My back stopped hurting, my neck stopped hurting, and sometimes, I probably stand at my standing desk about 80% of the time. I'll sit for maybe 20%, and I actually use a hard stool when I sit at my desk, either in the Asheville office or at my home office here at the coast. I sit on a hard stool so that I don't sit for very long. And the reason for that is I know it's going to hurt my neck and my back if I'm sitting for a long period of time. So I'm typically standing at my desk somewhere between 5 and 6 hours a day. And it's been amazing from a physical standpoint to have the standing desk. Getting your desk at the right height, whether it's standing or sitting, the type of chair that you're using, figuring out is important. It can save you literally physical pain if you concentrate on it and figure out what works. Having the right shoes on, all those things. Think about the physical space that you're operating in. Carpet to stand on, get the details right. Another thing that's been kind of like a nice feature of having the standing desk is that you can put a treadmill under the standing desk. You can literally have like some walking time. So there's been times now here I got a treadmill about a year ago. Times when I've watched dash cam video that is lengthy while I'm doing treadmill walking. There have been times that I am on the phone with a client or in a meeting where I am walking, as long as I don't have to be typing. I can't type and walk at the same time. I know some people in our office have actually been able to kind of accomplish that I can't figure out. But there is ways to, again, maximize the time that you're spending in the office. Walking makes you feel good. Like it's something that releases positive hormones, right? Dopamine is released through endurance exercising. And so walking releases good hormones. And so, again, feeling good about the space that you're working in. Maybe it's nice to get a walk at lunchtime. But again, thinking about these little ways of making your office more conducive to a healthy lifestyle and healthy mind. Smells and sounds, right? Having a focal point on where are you getting the most work done. I have to think at my home office about how I'm organizing my day because my kids come home at 3:00 and I can still get work done with them yelling in the background, but I'd prefer to not have a consultation, a serious phone call, a meeting when they are at home. Kids screaming in the background is not the most conducive to a trustworthy lawyer. If you're sharing important information during an initial consultation, all you hear is yelling in the background, that may not be the best setup. So being aware of the smells and sounds of the office, and again, how is that either leveling up your experience of being in the space or diminishing it? Again, if we're going to spend 1,000 hours a year in a space, in our work environment, and we want to enjoy practicing law versus getting burned out, having a great feeling space to work out of is monumentally important. So that's one reason it's important. Another reason is that if you're working with anybody else on your team, having a good office space for shared conversations can be critical in training. So part of the reason for this Dojo series, as I shared on last week's episode, is that Brian King has at his main office location in Rutherfordton a building called the Dojo, where his intake team operates out of, where his training manager, who helps train everybody at the firm, operates out of. But his intake team, at least at my last visit, all was sitting in a shared common area. I think there was about 7 people kind of operating about like a big set of like conjoined desks. And one of the beautiful things about that setup is that they could all hear each other. Now, not to a distracted level, but they could all listen in on each other's conversations. And if you're a new person in intake, being able to hear how other people are answering client questions, fielding new clients coming into the firm pipeline, all of that is extremely helpful in terms of training a new team member. Same thing is true if you have, an associate attorney that can easily listen in to your consultations or conversations that you're having with a DA by phone. Having that shared space can be a great way to cross-train. And I think that's actually been somewhat of a challenge for us over the last few years as we as a firm have kind of gone more and more remote, is figuring out how to kind of have cross training. Having that kind of shared operational space makes it much easier for a consistent feel because everybody is kind of on the same page about how client questions are getting answered, what the kind of tone is on the firm. So you have like a more consistent tone throughout the firm. So having that joint space is something worth spending a lot of time thinking about. Again, as I've shared on the podcast, I went and visited iTicket's main office in Chapel Hill, and they have thought a lot about their space and how to use that space and where to put team members within their space. They put a ton of mental energy into thinking about the logistics of having a great workspace that is conducive to training, that is conducive to tracking and measuring metrics, that is conducive to the best client experience. They've thought a lot about their space. It's important. One thing I think that is really nice about having like a shared office space is the opportunity to share meals. We have at the Asheville location a picnic table that is outside, and probably six to 10 times a year we're out having a shared meal at that office location with everybody in the office. Sometimes we're doing it upstairs in Stephanie's office now. We've done it in conference rooms in the past, but there's a real opportunity to grow, both obviously like discussing specific work items, but even more importantly, to grow as a team and in firm culture by having those shared eating spaces. So thinking about all of these things with regards to your office space, it's really important to getting the right feel, to enjoy practicing, to build the culture that you're trying to build at the firm. What does this space feel like to you, to your team, to your clients? Spending a lot of time thinking about that is critical. So, just a few practical tips about how to make your individual office space better. So this is more at the individual level versus kind of like everybody at the office. If you have other people working at your office, whether that's a paralegal or an associate or somebody in intake, whatever it might be, this is more about your individual space, but obviously can translate into everybody's individual spaces. So practical tip number one, and none of this is going to be mind-blowing, but I think it's important, again, to think about. So practical tip number one, eliminate clutter. Have a clean desk. Again, you just heard about the importance of this for Robert Moses. Had basically worked off of a table, so he couldn't put anything in drawers, didn't have the ability to let things get piled up. Eliminate clutter by having a clean desk. My desk, every day when I am finished working, basically there is no paper on it. There's nothing on it. It's effectively, I've got my two screens at the end of the day, my coffee warmer, my daily calendar that I pull off of, and that's it. Nothing else is on the desk space at the end of each day. Clean it up. Make your desk clean. My daughter, who does intake at our office, she does something similar. She basically will actually like clear her desk and turn her computer around because she also has a kind of standing desk. She cleans everything off the desk. It is basically squeaky clean at the end of the day. And to me, having a clean desk, coming into a clean desk, working at a clean desk helps to keep the mind organized, helps to keep everything in its proper place so that it doesn't get lost, so that you don't have to go searching for anything. It's just the easiest way to keep it clean is to keep it simple. So, number one, clean desk. Number two, clean desktop. Now, I know there's people that are like, man, I love having all of these like billion icons on my desktop screen. I know where everything is. That's craziness. My one of our older computers has just crazy amount of icons on it, and it like immediately bothers me anytime that I look at that computer, because you can't, I mean, who knows what, if you're downloading a document or something and putting it on the desktop, it is like over top of multiple other documents, totally disorganized, impossible to locate anything. Your desktop is your virtual workspace. Keep it clean. Keep things organized. Don't let everything just pile up on the desktop. Normally, my desktop is squeaky clean. Currently, over the last 2 months, I have downloaded a lot of stuff and put it on my desktop, and I can feel it starting to bother me. It's time to get the desktop clean again. Move client files off the desktop into their proper place in our electronic filing system. Move business documents into their appropriate spaces so that when I need them, I can find them in the right file. I don't have to go searching. It's important to keep that desktop just as clean as you keep your desk. And finally, clean inbox. Eliminate the clutter. Have a clean inbox. You have to go searching for emails. How quickly do you get emails out of your inbox? To me, there is nothing more brilliant than having an absolutely empty inbox. I have been struggling at this as well for about the last 60 days. I'm normally pretty good at keeping a very small amount of emails in inbox. The goal is to have it at 0. Move it from the inbox to the calendar, or respond to it and file the email, but keep the inbox clean, because there is so much time wasted searching for emails or basically ignoring something and repeatedly having to look at it again within the email. Keep your email clean. If you need to start from scratch, start from scratch. Start from scratch on the email, but get that email inbox clean. Eliminate the clutter to have an organized workspace. Tip number 1. Tip number 2, have your resources available at your desk. If you have research manuals that you're consistently looking at, the NHTSA manual, your speed measuring operator training manual, the DWI trial notebook, whatever it might be at your desktop that you need, or bookshelf nearby, have your research manuals available. This is one reason. There's actually a couple reasons. One reason that I don't like working in a remote space, and I'm not counting my home office as this because I have everything like set up, but I hate kind of working sometimes when I'm at the courthouse. I'll find an attorney conference room. I'll set up my Surface Pro. I'll do some emails from there. I hate doing it. I'm going to try to maximize the time, but I hate doing it. And 2 reasons that I hate doing it. One is, again, I'm very visual. I can't see everything on that small screen. Right now, I have a ridiculous amount of screen space that I am looking at because I have 2 monitors that are probably 27 inches and about 32 inches would be my guess on the other one. I know the one is 27, the other one's a little bit bigger. So we're talking a lot of screen space. When I'm on the Surface Pro, maybe 11 inches, 12 inches, I don't know exactly what size that is, but tiny in comparison. And it's hard to see things. You can't have multiple windows up at the same time. I don't like operating where I can't easily. I don't like using my little finger on the Surface Pro pad. It makes it difficult to work. I want to have a mouse. I want to have the keyboard, the full keyboard. I want to be able to see everything in its place, right? That's important to having a good working environment. I'm sitting down when I'm in that conference room versus standing up. There's no natural light typically. The conference rooms are on the inside. It's just not a great workspace. Again, I'll maximize the time that I'm using at the courthouse. If there's some downtime in between sessions, I'll step out. I'll make a phone call to respond to a potential client consult. I'll send emails. I'll work on documents. Again, maximizing the time, but it's not conducive. I can get way more done in the same amount of time at my home desk space than I can when I'm working in that virtual setting. So you got to be aware of that space. Now, the other reason that I don't like working from, kind of that virtual setting is because all of my research manuals aren't there. I can't easily pull up cases that I have printed out. I can't easily pull, my NHTSA manual off the shelf. I don't have all of that at my fingertips. So again, if you're trying to make your office space conducive to work, having all of the things that you need available within arm's reach is a critical aspect of having a great work environment. You want to have all of the case file notes ready to go if you're working on a specific case, whether you like that printed out, pulled up on the desktop, have everything laid out. Maybe you want to have the client's case pulled up in eCourts so you can click on any documents or see case timeline. You have like an electronic filing system. Again, here we use Clio. You've got the officer's report that's been sent to you in Discovery. You have all of that stuff at your fingertips. You want your resources available. Again, small things. I love a cup of coffee. This is, it's 11:35 as I'm recording this. This is, I think, my fourth cup of coffee of the day. Here we go. Probably annoyed some people right there. That's okay. I've got a coffee cup warmer at my desk. It was game changing. My wife got me this for a Christmas present several years back. I've used it since on an almost daily basis. It's amazing. When I pack up to go on vacation and I know I'm going to be working at like a desk somewhere else, I bring the coffee warmer with me because that's an essential part of a good work experience, is having the cup of hot coffee that stays hot. Snacks. If you're somebody that has to eat a lot throughout the day, having the snacks readily accessible so you don't have to be spending time back and forth and looking for snacks all over the place. Like, have those things pre-ordered, ready to go. If you're hungry, you're not going to be operating at high level. Get hangry, you're going to do poor work. Your concentration is going to go down. Be aware of those things. It's amazing how much more work I can get done when I have the resources available and I'm not looking for things. I'm not having to go, up and down the stairs at the home office, at the actual office in Asheville. Like, if you're not having to be searching for stuff, you're just going to get more work done. So number two, have resources available. Number three, gotta eliminate distractions. Now, this is not the same as eliminating clutter. Clutter is all of the little things everywhere that basically just make it difficult to find something. Eliminate the distractions. I want you to imagine this. I want you to imagine that there is a jury trial going on. Jury trial between the state and the defense. The defendant is, they're in the process of picking a jury. Prosecutor has already asked his questions. The defense is asking their voir dire questions, talking to the jury. You have a case down in district court, speeding ticket that you need a reduction on. So you're like, oh, the defense lawyer is asking questions right now that the prosecutor is just sitting here. I'm gonna go up and ask the prosecutor for a reduction in the midst of this ongoing jury trial. Can anybody imagine that? Can anybody imagine walking up to that prosecutor and asking for a reduction? Hell to the no, right? You're going to get chewed out if you attempt to do that and earn a lot of bad will if you are interrupting this. It doesn't matter that the prosecutor's not asking questions. They're engaged. They want to be able to object to anything that's coming up during voir dire. They don't want to have any kind of like distraction come into play. And everybody understands that. Like nobody, you'd have to be slightly bonkers to go up to the DA in that setting and be like, "Hey, could you reduce this traffic ticket for me? That's scheduled for 2 months out from now. I'm just trying to clean some stuff up." That's not a good time to ask the prosecutor to help you. Okay, right? Everybody knows that. That's goes without saying. But we let that happen in our office all the time. We're available all the time. People can interrupt us any hour of the day. A call can come in that's unrelated to anything that we're working on. There's very few people that plan well to be unavailable. Treat the time that you are going to dig deep into something like you are sitting in a jury trial. You would not be answering the phone as you sit in a jury trial. On the defense side of things, you would not be thinking about a different case. You would not be writing a motion for something else. You would not have somebody on your team come up to you and ask a random question about a bill that came in related to the office. Like, you would be 100% focused on the trial, even if there wasn't really anything important happening in the trial at that moment. It's like, this is what I'm doing. This is where I am. And everything else is silenced. You've got to figure out how to do that in your office space. So some practical tips for eliminating the distraction. Find alone time in your office space. Find alone time. Alone time, undistracted time. Maybe that's early in the morning. Maybe you decide like, hey, I'm going to get into the office at 6. I'm going to have like a 2-hour block of just time where there's nobody calling in, there's nobody knocking on the door. Maybe you're a night out, you want to do this at night, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. or 7 to 9, whatever it might be. I want to have, once a week or a couple times a week, some undistracted time at the office. I'll tell you, when I have done this in the past, when I've kind of gotten like backlogged with work and I'm like, I just need to go in and knock some work out, and I go in early in the morning. I'm an early morning guy. I can't do the late night owl thing. I'm burned out by the end of the day. Like, my mental capacity is gone at that point. I go into the office early in the morning, get a couple of hours of work in. I bet you I can do like 5x the work in that 2-hour block than I can at any other 2-hour block in the day. It sometimes is unbelievable how much work I'm getting done in that undistracted free time early in the morning. And it feels so good. It feels so good to get all of those things that have been building up on my plate off my plate. I'm knocking them out left and right because there's nobody there to distract me. There's no like important emails coming in at 6 o'clock in the morning, phone calls, knocks on the door. There's nobody that's like having some emergency court situation. It's like, it's me and the work. That's all that we've got going on. And it feels unbelievable. And again, I'm getting like 5x the work done. So you have to find that time to be unavailable. Maybe it means leaving your actual office space, silencing your phone, and heading down the street to a coffee shop or little cafe, whatever it might be, and finding that distraction-free space. Maybe that means putting a do not disturb sign on your door. Maybe it means putting the do not disturb sign on the door. Several years back in the Asheville office, my assistant Stephanie got me a do not disturb sign for my podcast because I would have people on the team that would come knock on the door in the middle of the podcast. They weren't trying to interrupt anything. They just didn't know I was recording at the time. I didn't have like a set schedule. It was like, hey, this is a good afternoon to record this thing. I didn't send a memo out to everybody at the office. Hey, don't disturb me for the next hour. I just dive into it, but they would come knock on the door. And so Stephanie got me these little door hangers that basically say, do not disturb recording in progress. Boom, put that on the door. Nobody knocks on the door until that sign comes down. easy. Have a do not disturb sign for your office space at certain times a day. Whether that's an hour, 30 minutes, 3 hours, whatever it might be. Hey, I'm out. Like I'm not able to be contacted during this time frame. I'm in my office. I'm in the zone working on something. Sometimes you just got to remove yourself from your office to get that distraction-free time. Even when I'm in my office, there's just things that are coming up, a phone call that is coming in, an email that is there. I have that shiny object syndrome where, maybe something comes up on one of my internet tabs, whatever it might be. So as I was planning this podcast episode notes, I went out on my deck. I took my big ass 2025 planner. I got it right here. You can't see it because of you can't see it. I was trying to show those that are watching by video, but took my Jesse Itzler 2025 big ass planner that has an amazing whiteboard section, huge whiteboard, kind of in book form at the end of the planner. And that's what I use now as my podcast notes because I can put it up in front of my screen and read off of that. But I went outside, sat on the deck away from a computer, and it's basically like me reflecting on the podcast. I'm not typing it up in, Google Doc. I'm not typing it up on my screen and have this like potential to get distracted. Go out into a different space, kind of put the mind into a more creative zone. I'm outside. I got the fresh air. It's a different space. I'm doing something that is kind of outside of the normal work realm, where I'm normally typing up documents, putting in client notes, responding to emails. This is, hey, here's the creative space. Let's go find that. So again, plan to be unavailable. Make yourself unavailable when you are working on a specific task or project within the office. So those are some practical tips for maximizing the closet, i.e. your office space. Again, we will continue our Dojo series. Next week, we're going to focus on the calendar. And to me, this is the meat and potatoes of great lawyering is a master planner, master calendaring. This is something that I'm super passionate about. I'm very excited to talk about that. But hopefully in terms of thinking of the importance of your office space and how to practically make it look, feel better, help you to stay focused and undistracted. Hopefully this information has been helpful, and I look forward to speaking with you again next time.